Hello, and welcome to my channel. This is Inspired by Christ, where we talk about everything Jesus, God, salvation, and whatever He inspires me to talk about. And last night, I was in Exodus chapter 4, and I had always wondered, I'm like, so Moses is talking to God, and God is telling him, like, go to my people, go to the Pharaoh and ask him to let my people go. Essentially, he's giving him the mission. And Moses is like, Lord, how am I supposed to go to your people? How will they know that it's from you when it's not just like me talking? And so that this is where they're saying it. Again, this is chapter 4, and I'm going to just start at verse 1. And Moses answered and said, But behold, they will not believe me, nor hearken unto my voice. For they will say, The Lord hath not appeared unto thee. And the Lord said unto him, What is that in thine hand? And he said, A rod. And he said, Cast it on the ground. And he cast it on the ground, and it became a serpent. And Moses fled from before it. And the Lord said unto Moses, Put forth thine hand, and take it by the tail. And he put forth his hand, and caught it, and it became a rod in his hand, that they may believe that the Lord God of their fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, hath appeared unto thee. And the Lord said furthermore unto him, Put now thine hand into thy bosom. And he put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous as snow. And he said, Put thine hand into thy bosom again. And he put his hand into his bosom again, and plucked it out of his bosom, and behold, it was turned again as his other flesh. And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe thee, neither hearken to the voice of the first sign, that they will believe the voice of the latter sign. And it shall come to pass, if they will not believe also these two signs, neither hearken unto thy voice, that thou shalt take of the water of the river, and pour it upon the dry land, and the water which thou takest out of the river shall become blood upon the dry land. So that's where we're going to stop for now. But I had always wondered, like, Lord, why were you turning a rod into a serpent and suddenly making it his hand leprous? And I just thought, like, oh, I guess these are signs. And the people are just supposed to understand, like, oh, this must be God. But then I remember that scene from The Prince of Egypt, which is, I remember more of the movie than the actual word in Exodus. So now I've learned to fact check myself more often and make sure I'm getting the word right and I'm not following like any dramatizations from movies. But I never understood why a serpent, the leprous hand, and then the blood. But last night it was like it all of a sudden clicked for me. So we all associate, well, I said serpent, but I guess technically it says, no, it says serpent. I thought I read snake. It says serpent. So the rod turning into the serpent, the serpent was what deceived Eve in the garden. And so I think we can categorize that as sin, if that makes sense. Maybe not categorize, but the serpent can symbolize sin because that's where it started, with the subtle serpent. Alliterations. And I'm like, okay, Lord, I see that. God has authority over sin, the serpent. And then he had Moses put his hand in his bosom, and then he took it out, and he was leprous. And I want to say I either read somewhere or listened to a sermon that leprosy during that time, they didn't have a cure for it. And so it would cause like all of these issues that led to death. So leprosy was basically uncleanness and death. And so by having him do that, his hand turned leprous. And then when he put it back in and it came out, it was fully healed. So he's a God of healing, and God's healing isn't just, it doesn't only apply to like disease, but I don't want to say dead skin. Not dead skin in the way that it flakes off of us and becomes dust in the air or whatever, because that's dead skin too, like all the calluses that we're rubbing off our feet. But dead flesh, like just dead flesh, corpses, essentially. And so God can revive the dead. He has that power. And I'm like, okay, Lord, you have authority over all sin. You conquer even death. And then taking the water out, with Jesus being the fountain of living water. Is that how it's written? I feel like I'm botching phrases together. When he spoke to the woman at the well, he called himself an everlasting fountain. Hold on. I don't want to make stuff up. I think, if I remember correctly, because that's page 86. If I remember correctly, I think this is in John 14, maybe, theoretically. Oh. JK. Where's the Samaritan lady? As many times as I done read that story. Do I have something? Whoops, sorry. Let's find the Samaritan lady. Sorry, I can pause. I'm a pause. Okay, I'm back. So, funny story. It was John 4, not 14. But John 4, and it's verse 13. Jesus answered and said unto her, whosoever drinketh of this water shall thirst again. But whosoever drinketh of the water that I shall give him shall never thirst. But the water that I shall give him shall be in him a well of water springing up into everlasting life. So Jesus is compared to water. And he basically gives us drink. But back in Exodus, they're saying take the water and pour it on the land. And it'll change to blood. And so if we think about that as being symbolic, synonymous, I don't know if I want to use the word symbolic, but that's the only word I can think of right now. If we use that word, pouring the blood upon the land, and with God's power, it cleanses the land. This cursed and broken world, pouring the blood upon it will cleanse it. And so I was just reading that, and it was like, it finally clicked for me. Oh, I think that's what's going on here. So God's authority conquers sin. What's the second one? Leprosy. God is a healer. He is God over death. I'm not going to say he's a God of death, because he's a God of everlasting life. He wants us all to live, but he also gives us free will. And so while he is over and can conquer death, we do still have dying things because of sin in the world. But yes, God is over death. Oh, God's authority rules sin. God is over death. He conquers death. And then with this with the water. How did I describe it? Well, how did the word describe it? I literally just read it. The well of water springing up into everlasting life. That water changes to blood to cleanse the land. Yeah, I was just reading and that just finally hit for me. Maybe y'all already knew that, I don't know, but I just learned that yesterday and I was really excited to share it, so I'm posting today. That's all.